Alright, so today's video is sponsored by Squarespace, and that's actually going to be the focus of this video because at the beginning of the year, I wiped out my Instagram. I just wanted a fresh start, archived and deleted over 3,800 photos, and ever since then, it's been really refreshing, and I've just thought I should probably do the same thing to my website because, as you all know, Squarespace being a longtime sponsor of the channel, I'm always talking about how easy it is to build your website and make updates and changes, and to be completely honest, I never do it to my website. I know how easy it is, but for whatever reason, it's just one of those things I struggle with. I put it off because I just think I've got other things I need to work on. I think most photographers can probably relate to that, but I'm trying to be better about it. I'm trying to be more intentional, not just in the photos I'm making as I'm making them, but also what I end up doing with the photos and where they go. So today, we're gonna take care of that. I recently did a video on the iPad Pro and how I use it every single day, so I thought it would be fun to kind of tie that in, and I'm going to do the entire process on my iPad so you guys can see exactly how easy it is. We're also going to talk a little bit about portfolios and how important they are because I think there are so many different approaches and philosophies when it comes to portfolios, so I thought while we're kind of on the subject of all this, I would go ahead and share my perspective as well, just to give you some food for thought and see what might work best for you. With all that out of the way, let's get started here. Okay, so right here, these are all of the photos for my project Friend of Mine. This is the book that I'm self-publishing. If you didn't know, the book is just about done in production. We're scheduled for March 12th for the books to be finished and delivered. As soon as they're delivered to me, I'm going to be signing and shipping every copy of the book myself. Super excited about that. But one of the main things I really want to do with my website moving forward is focusing more on sharing my personal work, not just client work, not just weddings, commercial work, that kind of stuff. I really want to make my website a place to have my personal work. So we're going to start with Friend of Mine. This was my first real project, and we're going to go ahead and add all of these photos to the website, which we can see right here. This is kind of the dashboard. This is where you're going to be able to see all of the different options for changing up your website. And as you can see on my website right here, this is where it is right now. It is very bare. I used to have weddings and families, engagements, wedding pricing, all kinds of stuff. I've removed all of that. If I go over here to pages, you can see weddings and wedding pricing. Those are disabled. That's why they're kind of grayed out, as well as Nora's birth. I kind of want to change that up. Actually, you know what? I might just go ahead and delete this. So I obviously have all of these photos. I didn't just delete the photos, but I deleted that on there because I didn't really have it shown on the website anyway. And I want to make a separate gallery just for my personal work of my family. So I'm going to completely overhaul that. Again, today we're going to focus on Friend of Mine. As you can see right here, this is the pre-order site. So all you do to pre-order the book, for anybody who's interested, you go to the site there, and this is where you're going to be able to place your pre-order. It's an edition of 1750, so I'm selling off the remaining copies. There are a couple hundred copies left, so if you haven't placed an order yet, now would be the time to do so, because after that, this book is done. But obviously, for people who maybe didn't pre-order the book, but they want to be able to see the photos, I want to be able to have a gallery here so you can at least see the work if you don't plan on purchasing a copy. So we're going to go ahead and add a new page, and we're going to go to gallery right here. So for the title, Friend of Mine. Boom. Okay, so now this collection is empty. Click here to add your first item. We're going to go ahead and click there, go to our photo library, go to albums. Now we have all of our different albums that we have here. This right here, Friend of Mine Gallery, these are the exports that I made specifically to load on the website. I basically went with a lower resolution that is still good enough to view on a screen, but it's not going to make the website take forever to load. So we're going to go in here to this, and then essentially we are just going to go and drag all of these, all 51 images that are in the book, and we are going to click Add. Also, as these are loading, you can kind of see this little spot on my screen protector right there. That's actually from a baby pin on a C-stand that slid off as I was setting up for this shot that completely demolished that little spot on my screen protector. So yeah, that's fun. As you can see, it's updating and it's adding all of these photos to the gallery itself. It's going to go ahead and refresh this every time a new photo loads. So this takes a little bit. Again, there are 51 photos here, but as you can see, at a decent size, they're uploading pretty quickly. And of course, I can rearrange these photos however I want, which I have a very particular sequencing that I'm going to go through and kind of mimic what exactly I have in the book. But let's go back here to the home screen, and we're going to go ahead and jump into design and then the template. Right now I have Wexley installed 5 years ago. I've bounced around from a couple, but this is probably one of the earliest ones I used. I went back to it probably a year ago, but we're going to go ahead and install a new one. When you install a template here, it's not going to immediately change your site. You can have multiple ones installed at a time and kind of bounce back and forth. Up here at the browse section, you can kind of choose based on what kind of website you need. We're going to go with photography and just see what it pulls up here. I think Wells was the last one I used before I went back to Wexley. These are all going to be pretty similar and pretty minimal, which is one thing I really like, but I'm still probably going to be pretty picky. Ishimoto, I kind of like this one because it looks like there's like some swipe through. That's kind of interesting. I like that one a little bit. It's nice that it kind of shows you a preview, as well as up here, if you click on the kind of tablet view, this is going to show you what it's going to look like on an iPad. And then also if you click on the phone, it's going to show you what everything will look like on the phone, which is really nice. Squarespace websites are going to work on, all kinds of different platforms or different devices. Let's go back to the web view though. I do kind of like that. It is nice that you can kind of click through these little mock websites, so it shows you different ways you can use it and set it up. I do kind of like this. Again, one thing that's going to be different compared to a book is having, this kind of full bleed. You're not going to be turning a page. You're just going to be seeing the photos side by side. Not much breathing room between the photos, but, it is what it is. This one could be interesting. Maybe just a simple landing page. You have all your different options. Let's see what it looks like to actually view the photos. That's not going to work. Not for me anyway. I like to kind of have a really simple and less cluttered kind of look. Jasper looks kind of interesting. I could have different galleries, different projects. Kind of click through it to see the title. Let's see, click again. A little bit of information about the project. That would actually be interesting to do with the book. Okay, and then down here at the bottom, you could go to a different one. I think we're going to run with Jasper. Let's go ahead and preview it. All right, so we're previewing Jasper. It's not live yet. You can see it kind of gives you this heads up right now that, as you make changes, it's not going to affect anything. This is just the demo. You can see you've got all of these kind of sample things set up. I can move those around or delete them. So it looks like once we actually click to it, we'll be able to click through them, sort of like flipping through a book. Again, it's not going to be the same thing. That's interesting. I think we're going to run this one. All right, we're going to go back to pages. We're going to delete all of these example pages. Okay, so now when you go to the website, Matt Day, friend of mine, here's the gallery for friend of mine. Let's see if I click. Yep, there we go. It kind of gives us like a little bit of a pop-up view. We're going to set the pre-order page as the home page. That way it's easy for people to go and pre-order. mattdayphoto.com, that's it. There we go. And again, friend of mine, contact. Let's see, the contact page should be the same. Yep. There we go. So now everything is basically where it was in terms of what I have on my site, but now I have this extra gallery. Of course, I can change any of this text. I can change the type and all of that. I'm going to go in and rearrange all of this stuff, but that will take much longer than you need to see in this video. Weddings and wedding pricing, all of this down here, you can see it's still kind of grayed out. It's not linked, so it's not going to be visible to anybody that goes to the site. Again, right now, I'm kind of in the middle of redoing that portfolio, and I'm not sure exactly if I'm going to have my paid professional work on the same site. I actually might end up making a separate website for that itself, so we'll see on that. But I've got my first gallery on there with my first project, friend of mine. The next thing I'm going to add is probably a collection of instant film, since I've been going through that, but all in all, this was pretty straightforward and a good start to update the site. I need to do this more often. So as you could tell, it's a pretty straightforward process to make updates and change things and add galleries, move it all around however you want. Again, I don't know why it's taken me so long to do that, but I am working on it. I'm going to try to add new galleries regularly and change things up. That way there is actually things happening on my website and it's not just, something I update once a year. But let's talk a little bit about portfolios while we're on the subject, because I think this is one thing that there are so many different approaches and philosophies when it comes to portfolios and how you should use it, what you should or shouldn't include. So I'm going to share kind of my perspective when it comes to putting out a portfolio for potential clients. Hopefully it makes sense to you and it might just give you something to think about when it comes to putting together your own portfolio. When I first started doing photography for a living, I kind of felt like I needed to show people how well-rounded I was and that I could shoot in a number of different situations and a number of different subjects. And even though I might have different sections in my portfolio, so let's say I had, senior portraits and then commercial work and then weddings and then families. There was, a bunch of different categories within the portfolio, but really it was a pretty big and broad collection of different kinds of photography. Again, that was to kind of show how well-rounded I was, so that no matter who approached me or what kind of subject they had in mind, I wanted to basically appeal to as many people as possible because I needed the experience and I needed the money. But as I got older, I realized just kind of how scattered everything was, and while it gave me a lot of great experience and, paid the bills when I really needed it, I've kind of taken a different approach as I've gotten older and as I've gotten further along in my photography career, and I've started looking at portfolios more as an advertisement to potential clients. I know that's what a portfolio really is. It's showing people what you can do so that they hire you, but I'm really trying to cater to a specific audience, and I'm trying to show basically the photos that I would like to do more of. If someone happens to go to my website and they see a bunch of photos of families in a studio setting, they're going to think that's what I do and that's what they're going to come to expect from me. When in reality, if I'm taking photos of a family, what I like to do is kind of do it a little bit more documentary style, where the family isn't necessarily paying that much attention to me. We might get, a photo of everybody together, obviously engaging with the camera, but the majority of the time that I'm there with a family, I like to just be a fly on the wall and kind of photograph them the way I do my own family. Letting the kids be kids, parents interacting with the kids, with the family pet, all of that kind of stuff. That to me is what's the most exciting about family photography, is just families being families. And even if I don't like shooting photos of families in a studio, if that's in my portfolio, someone, a potential client, might see that and they might love that and just think, oh no, we'd rather just do that. And it's their photos. They obviously have a choice in what kind of photos they get, but if I don't put that out there in front of them, they may not actually want that. They may just see what I do and focus on that. Same thing goes for weddings, for commercial work, anything that you have in mind. Really try to show the work that you're most proud of, but also work that you'd like to do more of. Anything that has a familiar style that you'd like to shoot more of. If you try to focus on that, it's most likely going to appeal to other like-minded clients. And to me, I think having that kind of mutual interest and mutual style, to me, I think that leads to the best work in the end overall. Just something to think about. That's the way I've been looking at it for a long time now, and I think it's led to a lot of really good experiences with my clients and sort of a mutual understanding as to what to expect. Of course, I'd love to hear what you guys think in the comments down below. Again, big shout out to Squarespace for sponsoring this video, as they've been a sponsor for a long time. I love their service. You could again see exactly how easy it was, so I'm happy to kind of make a new habit out of this, where I'm regularly making changes to my website that are much needed. So if you guys have any questions about any of that, please let me know in the comments down below. But again, that is it for today. Thank you guys so much. I love you. I'll see you next time.